My name is Lily Jones. I'm 62 years old. Just a regular housewife who looks forward to evening walks with my retired husband. What I'm about to tell you is about when we celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary, our silver anniversary. It was quite the event, and I think you want to hear about it. Back then, I was working as a magazine editor, and my husband Tom was in advertising. We were both always busy, often leading lives that barely intersected. Thankfully, despite that, our marriage stayed strong, and our daughter, Sally, grew up to be a straight arrow kind of girl. Around that time, Sally had just started her career, and Tom and I were getting to an age where we were mentoring the next generation at our jobs. Things were finally settling down. We never really did typical family things like going on vacations because of our hectic schedules, but seizing this peaceful moment. "Let's spend our 25th anniversary just relaxing as a family," Tom suggested. That's when it hit me. This year was our 25th, our silver anniversary. I was thrilled at the thought alone, but Sally got even more excited. "Why not go on a trip? Let's splurge on a fancy hotel." So we all took the day off and decided to stay at a hotel. We chose a beautiful hotel known for its ocean view, pool, and fantastic seafood, as per Sally's request. It was an ultra-luxurious hotel, often featured on TV. Then came the big day. The view was just as amazing as we had heard. A stunning contrast of the ocean and greenery right before our eyes. I couldn't help it. "Wow, that's wonderful!" We all instinctively took out our phones to capture the moment. It was that breathtaking. The room we booked was one of the hotel's special ones, known for its beautiful sunset views, like a scene out of this world. It's usually reserved for celebrities and politicians, a real VIP experience. It's so popular, it's almost impossible to book. We felt lucky to have gotten it. Our excitement was sky high. "Let's hurry up and go!" Sally, more excited than us, pulled us towards the front desk. "Excuse me, we have a reservation under the name Jones?" I said to the female staff at the counter. "Yes, Mrs. Jones, please give me a moment to check," she replied, searching for information in the reservation list. "Oh, I'm sorry, but there seems to be a mistake. You're Mrs. Jones, correct?" Yes, that's right," I replied, puzzled. She looked back at the list, confused. "I'm sorry, but it seems like we don't have your reservation. We are a reservation-only hotel." "What? That can't be right. We definitely made a reservation." I was shocked, raising my voice in the quiet elegance of the luxury hotel. "Well, we do have a reservation to Mrs. Johnson today." "That must be a mistake in hearing our name. We made a reservation." I was sure of it, because I had made a call myself. And I clearly said Jones. The date was correct too. Not convinced, I even gave her our address and phone number, asking her to check again. "Please, wait a moment," she said with a brief and pleasant smile, and disappeared into the back. What's with that face? It's creepy, as I'm thinking this. What do you mean?" my daughter asks with a puzzled voice. "It must be some mistake. I made a reservation properly. It's okay." I smile, and so does my husband. "Right, everything will surely be fine," he says, reassuring her daughter with a smile. After all, this is a luxury hotel. They must handle any mishaps with sincerity. "Thank you for waiting. Please follow me," said a woman who appears to be the assistant manager of the hotel, standing before us. I tease my daughter. "See, I told you we had a reservation," with a playful smile. Oh, so it was just a misunderstanding? I was worried there. Both my husband and daughter sigh in relief. This is your room. We try to contain our excitement and high expectations as she opens the door. Huh? Something's... It's different from what we saw on TV. My daughter is the first to speak up. My husband also. Scratches his head. Indeed, it's different from the room we saw in the photos and on TV. I'm sure of it, having eagerly looked through travel magazines countless times. The interior is somewhat similar, but the furnishings seem old and dirty, even from a distance. The only view from the window is of trees and rocky terrain, blocking the light and making the room dark. There's no sea in sight, and obviously, we can't see the advertised sunset. It seems like we'd been given a room on the complete opposite side of what we reserved. Excuse me, is this really a room? I ask. The room you reserved is exactly as booked, was the reply. She replies a bit too firmly, making me feel uncomfortable. I didn't mean to be rude, but did I offend her somehow? Due to the season, the view might be slightly less impressive than usual. If this room does not meet your expectations, we can offer another available room as a special case. Her detached manner makes us exchange glances. If the view outside a hotel is that beautiful, wouldn't any room offer a stunning view? Or maybe, if this is the standard for the best rooms, the others might be the same. Her attitude is also concerning. If we're being seen as troublesome guests, perhaps we should just cancel. That thought crosses my mind. My daughter looks troubled, probably thinking the same. However, my husband says, "We've come all this way, and the view from the parking lot was so beautiful. Surely a different room will offer a better view." He decides to continue our stay. There's some logic to what he says. Thinking about when we can all get together next. It's uncertain. We don't want to miss this special anniversary. After discussing it, the three of us decide to first see the room and then make a decision. The assistant manager, who overheard our conversation, says, "Then I'll arrange it right away." Her attitude from earlier is gone, replaced by a cheerful demeanor. The staff is informed to prepare a room, and we are instructed to wait on the lobby sofas until it's ready. But no matter how long we wait, there's no sign of being led to our room. We only watch other guests check in. I then realize something unpleasant. Other guests are being escorted to sofas by staff carrying their luggage. We've had no such assistance from the start. Is there a difference in treatment? No, it must just be busy. But I'm not the only one with these doubts. Even my daughter, who initially enjoying taking photos and videos inside a hotel. Isn't this taking too long? Are they really preparing a good room for us? She seemed to be getting irritated. Indeed, it's been 2 hours since they said they were preparing the next room. My husband also says, "This is unusually long," scratching his head. I seem to be watching him scratch his head a lot today. It's disheartening. Just then, the assistant manager finally appears. "Your room is ready," she says without an apology for the wait, which irks me a bit. Honestly, just waiting has exhausted us, so feeling irritated is natural. But the thought of finally relaxing in our room with an ocean view and pool brings joy, leaving us with mixed feelings. We follow the assistant manager to our room. Even the hallways we pass through are beautiful. My troubled heart starts to calm, thinking, if we can enjoy from here on, it's all good. But then, we're led through a hallway with a kitchen visible, something like the hotel's backyard. Is this okay?" my daughter asked aloud. "Shh!" I hush her. I feel the same, but we can't say anything without seeing the room. But can there really be a nice room in such a place? The uncertainty is too much. "This is the room," we are told, as we're led into a small room. There's only a tiny window and a four-legged table in the room. No chance of seeing the sea. With three of us in only one bed. It's too cramped to sleep. Stunned, we're left by the assistant manager who doesn't even bother to explain the room.
Please enjoy your stay,
She says with formal gestures before leaving.
Is this some kind of nap room or something?
My daughter's comment makes both my husband and I agree. Seeing the kitchen on our way, it could only be a staff break room.
Yuck! There's a tissue on the floor!
My daughter exclaims. Sure enough, a crumpled tissue lies between the bed and the wall. After waiting for 2 hours, they hadn't even cleaned the room. This is a bit much. It's too small for 3 of us to sleep. And not worth the price. Let's go complain to the front desk. My husband's words resonate with my daughter and me. It's our much-awaited wedding anniversary and our first family trip. We don't want to compromise even a little bit. It was a good thing we decided to see the room first. Considering cancellation, we head to the front desk.
Oh, what seems to be the problem?
We run into the assistant manager coming out of the kitchen as soon as we leave the room. We can't even sleep 3 people in that room. We booked a special room with a sunset view, but this is unacceptable. Are you sure there are no other rooms available? The assistant manager's face hardens at my husband's words.
What a dilemma! We offered you the best available room. We took time preparing it. And I think the price is fair, don't you? What? Are you kidding me? There was a tissue on the floor.
My daughter is the first to express her anger.
Well, what can I do?
The assistant manager sighs as if it's out of her hands.
So are you going to cancel?
And then asks. It feels like her true colors are showing. The difference in treatment we'd felt from the start and her high-handed attitude aren't just misunderstandings or because they're busy. She's looked down on us from the beginning. We don't need a luxury hotel like this. We'll cancel, please. My daughter and husband nod in agreement.
Then, since we prepared 2 rooms for you, the charge will be for both. Please settle it at the front desk.
We're dumbfounded by the assistant manager's words, now accompanied by an unfamiliar smile. You're charging for this room too? I can't help but raise my voice.
Of course! We allocated staff and resources to prepare it.
And the deputy manager, the first room reservation was over $4,000 due to a premium for a special day. Most of the other rooms I saw during booking were nearly $2,000. We only saw the room. Charging us for such a shabby nap room is absurd. This is unacceptable. Why did you even prepare in that dirty room? My usually calm husband raises his voice. The assistant manager glares at him, then turns her back and walks into the kitchen. Is she ignoring us? At that moment, she returns with a wine bottle, splashing the wine all over my husband's face. Tom!
Dad!
My daughter and I rush to him. He's shocked. I'm okay, really, but tries to reassure us.
You're perfect for a more common hotel next door. Can't even pay for your room here,
says the assistant manager, unapologetic and arrogant. My husband takes a deep breath to calm himself and tells her, I understand your point. However, I'm not satisfied, especially with this behavior. I won't pay now. Send a written request later. We'll respond accordingly. His composure is admirable. But I am sitting. I can't believe this is happening in a luxury hotel. Or rather, is this the behavior of any decent person? It's beyond a lack of common sense. Why should we pay for such treatment? Fighting back tears of frustration, I exclaim, We won't pay for such injustice. We'll make sure this hotel pays for this. I leave the hotel with my disappointed daughter and husband. The assistant manager and others are shouting about the unpaid bill, but I ignore them. It's unjust. Most importantly, I want to leave this place as soon as possible. After all, today is our wedding anniversary. The car ride home is silent. Our excitement turned to disappointment. Sally, send me the photos you took today later.
Huh? Sure, but why? They're not happy memories.
Won't they just make you sad? No, they're fueling my fighting spirit. My daughter looked puzzled at my words. Hearing our conversation, Lily gets scared when she's serious. My husband says, it's okay. Mom has made up her mind. Just wait, you'll see the answer in time. Back at work, I immediately approach a colleague who works on a weekly magazine. Hey, I've got some juicy info. Interested? With online articles dominating and weekly magazine sales dwindling, my colleague eagerly accepted my proposal. Ideally, I'd like to write the article myself, but my beat is a lifestyle magazine for housewives. It's a different field, so I let my colleague handle it. A month later, the information I provided turned into an article, and the weekly magazine hit the stands. Actually, since that hotel incident, I've been receiving frequent calls asking for payment for the room.
There are young people we can use to force the payment. Is that what you want?
Threatening messages like this were left on my voicemail, but I ignored them. Now I'm grateful for those events. They provided ample material for the article to take down the hotel and for consultations with consumer protection agencies. Famous luxury hotel frequented by celebrities, the dark side of its management exposed. That was the headline of the long article in the weekly magazine. Our investigation revealed that several other victims had suffered similar experiences. Thankfully, we were the only ones to endure the wine-throwing incident. Of course, the hotel hadn't always been this way. Up until that point, it had been a great hotel that lived up to its reputation. It used to be a reputable, genuinely wonderful place until about a year ago when the founder died. After the founder's death, his inexperienced young son became the wealthy young owner and manager, and his wife became the assistant manager. They had no real training in their roles. The founder's wife, mother-in-law, tried to educate them, but the son's wife wouldn't listen. Eventually, she even harassed the staff who were fond of mother-in-law. Mother-in-law, already elderly and struggling with health issues, was heartbroken at her inability to properly train her daughter-in-law. She hardly showed up for work anymore, leaving the hotel operations to her daughter-in-law, the assistant manager. This marked the worst management transition, with the new manager and his wife taking control. Since the change in management, the hotel lost its previous thoughtfulness and hospitality, leading to a slew of complaints and plummet in online and magazine ratings. Initially, the complaints were about things that could be fixed with awareness, like lack of elegance or rude interruptions. But the clueless couple ignored customer and employee feedback, and the business gradually deteriorated. Being a hotel that primarily catered to a small number of VIP guests, there weren't many who openly expressed dissatisfaction. This probably suited the couple, but it was disastrous for the hotel. Their ignorance of the basics of business was astounding. In a desperate move to save the faltering business, they resorted to room swapping. They made VIP-only rooms available to a few regular customers each month. Of course, these bookings were always swapped for other rooms, with VIPs still staying in the original rooms. They collected the regular room rates from the VIPs and also charged the regular customers for both the original room and the preparation of the nap room, a shocking strategy. It's disgraceful that such a renowned luxury hotel resorted to this. But perhaps such a distasteful method was all that the ignorant second-generation owner and his wife could come up with. Victims who suffered this mistreatment tried raising complaints on review sites and consulted consumer protection agencies. but they were largely ignored due to lack of evidence and information. Most were too shocked by the unexpected situation to capture conclusive evidence, ending up with incomplete videos or none at all. In our case, we were fortunate to have my daughter, who instinctively captures photos on her mobile phone, documenting various inconvenient truths from multiple angles. Even the assistant manager's threatening voicemail messages turned out to be valuable circumstantial evidence. Their attempt to extort money ended up leaving evidence against them. Such shallowness. And now this week's magazine article. My colleague's investigative reporting, based on photos and information I provided, caused a significant stir in various circles. It was no longer possible to ignore it as lacking evidence or insufficient information. Armed with the article's details, investigation results, and voicemail data, I approached the Consumer Protection Agency. I had been waiting for this moment. Within a week of the magazine's release, government agencies started to take action. Celebrities who had used the hotel commented, "Their treatment of guests were terrible, and I'll never use them again." This further tarnished the hotel's reputation. Other magazines, newspapers, and TV channels pick up the story, exposing the assistant manager's selfishness in her student days and the wealthy young manager's extravagant affairs. The Consumer Protection Agency committed to a serious response, and investigation agencies began their inquiries. It was becoming a spectacle. Shortly after the magazine's release, I received the unexpected call from the hotel. I prepared to record the call before answering. "Yes, this is Jones." Then,
How dare you publish such photos and lies in a magazine?
came a furious shout. As expected, it was the assistant manager. The used tissues scattered around the room, my husband drenched in wine. The magazine had published various photos, so they figured out we were the source of the information. But she didn't seem to realize I was involved with the magazine. "Just as it is," I replied calmly, which seemed to infuriate her father.
We only asked for the legitimate payment. You know about a full refund for same-day cancellations.
But the room clearly didn't match the photos.
It was an equivalent room. Stop making baseless accusations.
The assistant manager's childish, no, worse than a child, response made me sigh. What about the testimony and photos from the person who stayed in the special room who were supposed to be in that day? This was information unearthed by my colleague, who found and spoke directly to that person. The assistant manager ran out of words.
Huh? Whatever. What does that matter?
She carelessly affirmed the fact, unwittingly providing more evidence. The true nature comes out. She was giving us information. I was starting to have a little fun. "So you're saying such things aren't surprising, right?"
Whatever. Just do something about the magazine. You haven't even paid for your room, so don't cause any more trouble.
"Understood. I'll take care of it. Look forward to it." I might have sounded the kindest I ever have. Was my face radiant with happiness? When asked to take care of it, I had no choice but to comply. I immediately went to my colleague. "Got some fresh info." The editorial team was already planning a second installment, and my new information made the following week's article even more sensational. "Scandal breaks. Obtained audio of threatening assistant manager." This article included a phone conversation as an audio data reference. It also featured comparison images of the room we were shown and the actual nap room. I passed the audio to a colleague in TV, and it was prominently featured in a news program. Naturally, they ruined our special wedding anniversary. After the second article was released, I contacted the hotel. After a few rings,
Hotel? How can I help you?
The assistant manager's voice trembled. They had just undergone an inspection by the Consumer Protection Agency a few days ago. Moreover, Victims who had previously remained silent seemed to be preparing a class action lawsuit. With an increasing number of condemnation against the Crook Hotel online, it was no wonder she sounded terrified. Did you read the article I took care of? It was well written, don't you think? I decided to inform her of the reality.
What do you mean?
She asked back in a weak, breathless voice. I should have mentioned earlier, I work for the publishing house of the weekly magazine.
What?
You asked me to do something about it, so I did. That phone call you made added depth to our article.
What have you done? Because of bottom feeders like you, I am...
She retaliated frantically. Seemed she still had some energy. Oh, and I'm recording this call too. Shall we make another article? Think carefully before you speak. After a pause, I heard her sniffling and snorting over the phone.
I get it. Please, retract the article. I can't even go outside now because of it. My friends are cutting ties with me.
Maybe they were never really your friends. Well, you lack consideration for others. So this is an opportunity to learn empathy. If only she had been more considerate, this could have been avoided. Despite my repeated explanations that an article once published cannot be retracted, she kept begging.
Please, I'm sorry. Do something about this article.
Apologists won't retract the article, nor will they change the fact that our anniversary was ruined. Have you received a lawsuit from the victims? A trial is coming, right? Time to reflect. Goodbye. I was tired of dealing with her crying, so I cut the call short. My part in this was over. My husband and daughter, having witnessed everything, were pleased.
The article helped others too. That's good.
A family win. Months later, as I had predicted, the hotel truly collapsed. The lawsuit was a landslide victory for the victims, unexpected outcome. Articles exposed the manager's past escapades, and the wealthy young manager and his wife, the assistant manager, divorced. With their faces known widely, the real trials were just beginning. I wouldn't want to be in their shoes, but I wouldn't make such foolish mistakes. A year later, my daughter said,
Having that as our anniversary memory is just too sad.
She planned another trip to celebrate our anniversary, choosing an even more luxurious hotel than before. She had been saving up little by little, a delightful surprise. By the way, that inferior hotel, the assistant manager scoffed at next door. I visited it later for a feature. When I visited for an interview later, I discovered a surprising fact. An old building, but with well-maintained gardens blending into the scenery, evoking nostalgia. Exceptional attention to guests and delicious food. And the manager, a stunning beauty. Our photographer was more focused on her than the scenery. Stunning views, delicious food, and a gorgeous manager. A hotel overflowing with hospitality. That was the headline of our feature. The hotel, having absorbed the VIP clientele of the new defunct hotel, was now a popular destination. My husband and I finally have free time. Our daughter got married, and now we're planning a trip with her family too. Life is a journey. No matter what happens, I'll keep standing up, resiliently traveling through this life. So, where to next?